Chaitanya Mahaprabhu revealed himself. He showed his 8-armed Narayan form to Sarvabhauma and he said, "Do you still think it wasn't a good idea for me to take sannyas?" And Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya surrendered to Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. He composed 100 prayers and he wrote songs about Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. He became the greatest devotee of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Imagine the news that Nimai Pandit, the darling of Navadvip, had left home, taken sannyas, which was a shock to everyone in the whole town of Navadvip. But then he had gone off to Jagannath Puri, and now he had converted the biggest scholar in all of India to his movement, the Sankirtan movement. How people were amazed and proud of Nimai Pandit. And this song tonight is a song composed by this very same Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya called the Sachitanaya Ashtakam, 8 verses glorifying Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Ujjvala varana gauravara deham vilasita niravari bhava videham Ujjvala varana gauravara deham vilasita. A little slower. Tribhuvana pavana kripaya lesham tam pranamami cha Shri Sachitanayam. Now, Gadgarantara bhava vikaram Durjana tarjana nada vishalam. Bhavabhaya bhajana karana karunam tam pranamami cha Shri Sachitanayam. Aranam Bharadara Charu Kapolam Indu Vinindita Nakachaya Ruchiram. Jalpita Nijaguna Nama Vinodham Tam Pranamami Cha Shri Sachitanayam. Vigalita Nayana Kamala Jaladharam Bhushana Navarasa Bhava Vikaram. Gatyati mantara nritya vilasam tam pranamami cha Shri Sachitanayam. Chanchala charu charana gati ruchiram Manjira ranjita parajuga maduram. Chandra vinindita shitala varanam Dham pranamami cha Shri Sachitanayam. Dhritakati dora kamandalu dandam Divya kalevara mundita mundam. Durjana kalmasha khandana dandam tam pranamami cha Shri Sachitanayam. Bhushana Bhurajala Kavalitam Kampita Bimdara Vararuchira. Malayaja Virachita Ujjvala Tilakam Tam Pranamami Cha Shri Sachitanayam. Ninditaruna Kamalajaya Nayanam Ajandulam Bitashi Bhuja Jugalam. Kalevara Kaishora Nartaka Vesham Tam Pranamami Cha Shri Sachitanayam. Jai Sachinandana, Jaya Sachinandana, Jai Sachinandana, Jaya Gaura Hari. Jaya Sachinandana, Jaya Sachinandana, Jaya Sachinandana, Jaya Gaura Hari. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Nitai Gaur Haribo, 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 Nitai Gaur Haribo. Jaya Jaya Prabhupada, 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 Jaya Jaya Prabhupada. Premanande Nitai Gaura Haribo, 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 Nitai Gaura Haribo. Thank you. Hare Krishna, everyone. Nice to see you. I just came from Texas, and we were in Austin, Texas. It was we went out to do Sankirtan with the devotees there. We had a couple of days of talking about Sankirtan, and then actually I'm going to show another PBT. If you want to escape out of that one and go to the window and look down under SOS, you can start there. We went out in Austin, Texas. There's a saying in Austin. Anybody here been to Austin, Texas? Let's hear it. You from Austin? Come on, he's from Austin. Give him a hand. There's a saying there that says, help keep Austin weird. It's the only democratic state in the Democratic city in the whole state. They're very oriented towards higher consciousness, yoga, liberal thinking, and so forth. It's a great place for Sankirtan. Anyway, we went out with about 30 devotees onto the streets of Austin, and practically everyone we met was interested. I can only remember a couple of people that weren't. And afterwards, thank you. And afterwards, the devotees felt completely satisfied and enlivened, because when we go outside to meet people and give them an opportunity to read transcendental literature, we see for ourselves how every living entity is actually Satchidananda. They're all searching for transcendental happiness. They're settling for material, inferior happiness because they don't know any better. And therefore Chaitanya Mahaprabhu said, Maya Mukta Jivana Nahi Swata Krishna Gyan. That it's not automatic that the living entity comes out of this kind of ignorance, forgetting that he has an invaluable jewel around his neck, a homeless person languishing in poverty, and then a person comes along and says, hey, wait, what's that around your neck? And then he realizes, oh, that's a jewel I've been carrying since I was a child. I've completely forgotten that it's worth billions of dollars. And so what we've forgotten is ourselves. What we've forgotten is our relationship with Krishna. That's the most valuable thing we have. Everything else within this world is frustrating. Just like a little baby. When it wants its mother, it doesn't want anything else. And is not satisfied with anything else. You can give him $5, but he won't appreciate it. He just wants to be with his mother. And the little jiva just wants to be with Krishna. And once the jiva is with Krishna, satisfied. Everything else, unhappy. So, giving out transcendental literature to the jivas, it's well placed. It's well placed. That's where it belongs, in the hands of the living entities. That's why it was made. And we're living in an interesting age when there's technological advancement that drives us all crazy. The more technologically advanced we become in society, the less service you get. Just like on the airlines. The fancier things get, the less they give you, the more you have to pay for everything. In the old days, you get on the plane, they treat you like a king. Come and give you service. But now, more technologically advanced, pay for everything, they've reduced the services, everything's going down. But one thing that's going up is our facility to distribute Krishna consciousness rapidly and get it in the hands of the people. That's the window of opportunity that we have right now. So, we can't take it for granted. We have to capitalize on this opportunity. We have a very short window of opportunity just passing through this in this human form of life as it is. And so this seminar is designed to organize us as communities to do the Yuga Dharma. Yuga Dharma means spreading the holy name. And it's spread through chanting, and it's also spread through distribution of literature, which is recorded chanting. It's chanting which is being recorded on pages in books. And books have a huge effect on society, as we'll see. So tonight we're going to talk about our legacy, the 4 laws of book distribution, how to sell a Gita on its own merit, distributing full sets, distributing foreign language books, and some tips. So we're the recipients of the Sampradaya. Sam means complete, and pradaya means gift. So we're receiving the most valuable and most complete gift that's coming down through our teachers, who have passed it down painstakingly, dedicating their lives to making sure that we get it. And we've received it by the mercy of those previous teachers. So we should be very thankful that we're receiving that gift. And what is our job in life? It's to pass the gift on. Isn't that a nice occupation? You don't have to work hard. Here's the big news. Nobody has to work hard, except for Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, and that's not work, that's ananda, that's happiness. That's our only job in life, is to pass on this gift we've been given by Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu through his servants. What do you think? Nice or nice? Nice, Vaisheshika Das. Very nice. Okay. Sri Advaita Acharya cried out to the Lord over and over again. Now this is the secret to Krishna consciousness. If you want Krishna, you got to call out for him. If you don't call out loudly, if you don't call out from your heart like you're in dire need, then he won't run to you. But Advaita Acharya showed this. He was meditating how to get the Lord to appear in the world, because he reasoned that was the only way to actually save the degraded people in the Kali Yuga, if the Lord would come himself. And he remembered a verse from the Shastra that said, if one offers a palm full of Ganges water and tulsi leaves to the Lord, then the Lord sells himself to that devotee. And he capitalized on that verse, and we should also capitalize on the Shastra. We should read it and we should find out what pleases the Lord, and then we should call out for him from the bottom of our heart. And that's why Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu appeared, because of the beseeching calls of Sri Advaita Acharya. And here's little Nimai appearing in the holy land of Navadvip, in the holy Dham, the eternal Dham. He appeared there amidst the great chanting of Hare Krishna, Hare Hare. Everyone was chanting. The Hindus were chanting. The Muslims were chanting. The police were chanting. The thieves were chanting. Everyone was chanting. And throughout his babyhood, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, little Nimai, induced everyone to chant by crying. And only when everyone would chant Hare Krishna would he stop crying. That was his mission, to spread the holy name. And that mission is easy to spread because it has only two parts. If you have a mission with a lot of moving parts, it's very difficult. But our mission only has two parts. And here they are. Now pay attention, because this is going to be on the quiz. Are you ready? Huh? Are you ready? Yeah. That's like about a 3 on a scale of 10. Are you ready? Yeah. Okay. Here are the two parts. Chant Hare Krishna. Teach it to others. Chant Hare Krishna. Okay, repeat after me. Chant Hare Krishna. Teach it to others. Chant Hare Krishna. Teach it to others. Okay, quiz. Okay, you passed. Now you're ready to spread the movement all over the world. That's all it takes. Chant Hare Krishna, teach it to others. Within the chanting of Hare Krishna, everything's included. Nikila Shruti Mali Ratnamala Duti Nirajita Pada Pankajanta. Rupa Goswami sings, the crown jewel of all the Vedas, the Upanishad, are shining light on the Vedas, and they're bringing something out, and that is that the entire purpose of the Vedas is fulfilled by chanting Hare Krishna. Everything there is complete in the holy name. So if you have the holy name, if you chant the holy name incessantly, 24 hours a day, first of all, you have no problems. All your problems in life will be finished. Second of all, you'll become a complete success in life. And if you teach it to others, then the ananda you feel in your heart, the happiness and the success you have, it will expand. Shreya Kaya Ravachandri Kavitaranam. This means the opening of the white lotus of good fortune. It comes from spreading the Sankirtan movement. Param Bijayate Sri Krishna Sankirtan means you'll have success in everything you do. That's the only way to have success in Kali Yuga, is to spread the Sankirtan movement. And it only has two parts. Chant Hare Krishna and... Correct. Lord Chaitanya and Lord Nityananda opened the marketplace of the holy name. It's a marketplace. Marketing means you have to think about it, how to make it available to people so they'll take it, how to attract them in. Coca-Cola people sit around all day long thinking, how are we going to sell this sugar water to the masses? And when do they come up with a campaign? Open a bottle of happiness. That's their campaign now. Open a bottle of happiness. I almost went for it. I saw that. And I thought, I could actually become happy if I just drank 16 ounces of Coca-Cola, because there's happiness in that bottle. They almost got me. And all around us, everyone's advertising, take this, take that. But Chaitanya Mahaprabhu and Lord Nityananda wanted us to advertise and make this a marketplace. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's mission was to spread this to every town and village. To where? What are some towns and villages in this area? Okay, Chicago and Evanston. Where? neighborhood? Naperville. Schaumburg? Schaumburg. Where are a few others? Arlington Heights. Have we reached all those people? Fantastic. We got a lot of work to do, right? Just so much to do. You were situated in one city. That's what we should be thinking. How to market this to all these people. How to market to the people in Schaumburg. How to find the people in Arlington Heights. We divide up the whole city and market this holy name to everyone so they can take it. That's our job. Good work if you can get it. Lord Chaitanya's movement became hidden. After Chaitanya Mahaprabhu departed, because of the force of the material energy, the message became degraded. The followers dispersed in many different ways and hidden. But then Bhaktivinoda Thakur in 1891 renewed the marketplace of the holy name. Amidst so much degradation of the Indian culture, which was purposely propagated by the British government to teach people that their culture was actually immoral, that the Vedas taught all kinds of crazy ideas about mythology and so forth. Even the intellectuals in the Hindu society began to take to processes like Brahmoism, which were concocted ideas, mixtures of Mayavad and Christianity and Vedic teachings and so forth. And Bhaktivinoda Thakur was amongst the intelligentsia of society at the time. And he came out very strongly for the teachings of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu once he discovered the Chaitanya Charitamrita. He had studied all the scriptures of the world, looking for that universal process that would unite everyone. And when he found the teachings of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, he became very enlivened to represent that and began teaching it, writing books about it, and spreading it all over the world, sending books to other countries, preaching in India and so forth. He wrote over 100 books. So he renewed that marketplace. At Surabhi Kunj, he actually formed a market, the precursor to Amway and all the other marketing companies where they get people together in their own homes and they sell the product and then they go out to sell it to other people. They use, instead of putting out big advertising dollars, they use those dollars to enliven the people within their own group, and then they send them out. One person tells 3 more people, tells 3 more people, tells 3 more people. You've got 27,900 people after a few different generations, and so forth. He had a whole scheme for this networking of the holy name. There were brokers, there were salespeople in the market. What place did he put himself in the marketplace of the holy name? He was the sweeper, the janitor, who would clean up everything afterwards. And Bhaktivinoda Thakur prayed for a ray of Vishnu in his family. Who was that? Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur, the great scholar and acharya who spread Krishna consciousness all over India. And he also, did Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur, predict that a great personality would soon appear to spread Krishna consciousness all over the world. Gaur Kishore Das Babaji Maharaj, the stalwart devotee of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, kept the vibration of the holy name going. Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur. If you haven't read the book, Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Vaibhav, I recommend you read it. It's by Bhaktivinoda Maharaj. You should know about your predecessor acharyas, and this book will inform you about the character of Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur and how he spread Krishna consciousness all over India. He also began to make inroads to Burma, England, and so forth. They weren't terribly successful, but his vision was to get this going all over the world. Many people couldn't even conceive of that happening, of it going all over the world. In fact, a lot of people, Hindus, said, you can't cross the ocean, no going outside of India, and so forth. Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur gave this instruction to Abhay Charan De, one of his disciples. If you ever get money, print books. If you ever get money, what? Print books. Correct. A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada took up that idea and he began making books while he was still in India. He didn't have resources. He went to Vrindavan and he made his headquarters there. Many sadhus go to Vrindavan and they stay there. They never leave. But Srila Prabhupada was constantly coming and going from Vrindavan to Delhi, to Bombay. And what was he doing? He was putting together his books. First, to Back to Godhead magazine. He would go and buy the paper himself. He would walk instead of riding, save money so he could buy paper, so he could print the Back to Godhead magazine, and then he went out and distributed it himself, did everything himself. Then he started writing his Srimad Bhagavatam. Now you see the Bhagavatam he's holding in his hand? This was the first pamphlet that he made advertising his Srimad Bhagavatam. 60 volumes of elaborate English version. He only had 3 at the time. All over the world for scientific knowledge of God. He had no resources, no connections. And he's advertising all over the world. So Prabhupada took on this instruction from his spiritual master that books are the way to inject this knowledge into society and affect change. And it's a fact. In America, the American Revolution was sparked, according to historians, by a pamphlet, an essay called Common Sense. You can read it online. It's a fantastic essay. And that essay was printed and distributed to most of the population in America at the time, more than 200 years ago. And that's what got people to rise up and foment revolution in America. That's what inspired them. A well-written essay inspiring them to revolt. In Cuba, Fidel Castro was in jail, and he wrote down his ideas about change in the government and society. It was called History Will Absolve Me. He wrote it on paper with lemon juice because it was invisible. And his wife would visit the prison and smuggle those papers out, expose them to the sun. When the writing would become visible, they would transfer it, and they distributed it all over Cuba. And this is what, according to historians, was the precursor to the revolution in Cuba. Prabhupada mentioned many times that communists were very expert at spreading their philosophy by distributing millions and millions of pamphlets and books. And therefore, it's not just a fanciful idea, but it's actually an effective idea. When you write books and you get the written word out to people, it changes society. You plant seeds of ideas, and when people read them, they actually take it up. And one person takes it, and their family becomes changed, and then others who are connected to them change, and so forth. So mass distribution of literature is the effective way for changing society from the ground up. Prabhupada charged us with printing as many books in as many languages and distributing them throughout the whole world. That's a good occupation. And he asked, "So kindly help me." So this he put out to everyone. It's a lifeline that kindly help me. If we simply help him with this, we're taking up his request, and that will connect us in a very confidential and intimate way to Srila Prabhupada to try vigorously for this book distribution. Krishna himself says there's no more servant in this world more dear to me than the person who preaches the message of Krishna consciousness to others. You'll feel it when you go out on book distribution. When you're out there giving the Bhagavad Gita to other people, Krishna illumines your heart in the most wonderful way because of the effort you give. Hare Krishna. I didn't know you all were here. So Chaitanya Mahaprabhu also said, become a spiritual master and enlighten everyone in this world. So that is these are our direct orders coming down through the disciplic succession, come from Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu himself. And the direct order of the Supreme Lord is a manifestation of his internal potency. Please repeat after me. The direct order of the Lord is a manifestation of his internal potency. And this particular energy is the means of seeing the Lord face to face. Isn't that phenomenal? That if you can get the instruction, the order of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, and you can grab onto it, you'll come to see the Supreme Personality of Godhead face to face. This is the great secret of the Sankirtan movement. If you work hard to spread the Sankirtan movement all over the world, then very soon love for Krishna will flood your heart. You'll know everything about Vedic knowledge. The confidential knowledge of the Vedas will become known to you. And you'll come to see Krishna face to face. Eshe Brindaban Radhesham Pabe Darsham Gora Kripa Holehe. If you get the mercy of Lord Gora by spreading the Sankirtan movement, then at the end of this life, you'll see Radha Krishna in Vrindavan. That is a fact. Prabhupada said that you get superior strength and knowledge by distributing books. So if you just try, if you just make the attempt to distribute books, you will get superior strength and knowledge in Krishna consciousness. Therefore we say, book distribution is high sadhana. Shri Shri Kishore Kishori Ki. Book distribution is high sadhana. Book distribution is high sadhana. So if someone grabs you when you're walking out of this class tonight by the arm and they say, what was that guy talking about in there? You'll say? Yeah, we go out for our own purification. If you go out to distribute books, you'll get superior strength and knowledge in Krishna consciousness, because book distribution is? And it's the rapid way to make spiritual advancement, because you're going from one person to another. People are actually temples. Every human body, in fact, every body that you meet, is actually a residence of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Yastu sarvani bhutani atmani vanupashyati. Sarva bhuteshu chatmanam tato na vijugupsate. Yasmin sarvani bhutani atmai vadbhut vijanataha. Tatra ko mahakasho ka ekat vamanupashtaha. One who always sees all living entities as spiritual sparks in quality one with the Lord becomes a true knower of things. What then can be illusion or anxiety for him? One who always sees everything in relation to the Supreme Lord and sees the Supreme Lord within everything, never hates anything or any being. Anupashyati means we should follow in the footsteps of the great advanced devotees and see as they've seen. And by performing this kind of service, that is, running from one body to the next, doing this kind of puja, artik, to the Lord within the heart of other living entities, is the highest kind of service. Tapyante lokatapena prayasa prayasojanaha parama aradharam tadi purushasakilatmana. Lord Shiva said, when the demigods came to him to save the universe after they had churned the milk ocean and out came poison, and the universe was going to be ruined, they went to Lord Shiva, they said, please save us. And he said, Tapyante lokatapena. The highest kind of service is to perform austerity for the sake of doing good for others. And that's the best way to worship the Supreme Lord within everyone's heart, is to give them an opportunity to go back to Godhead, to touch them with the internal energy, with Krishna consciousness, with the chit knowledge that comes from the spiritual world. That's what we have encapsulated in these books, the books. The books are actually the eternal appearing within the temporal world, so we can hold them. They have weight, they have color, they have size. We can pick them up and move them. And if you take that labor to move those books from one place to another and put them in the hands of others, you're a direct agent of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Not only that, in the Mundaku Upanishad, it says, Tad vijnanartam sa gurum eva bika chet samitpani shotriyam brahmanishtam. That to understand the absolute truth perfectly, you have to inquire from a spiritual master. And in order to approach a spiritual master, you must carry firewood. That's what the Vedas say. What is that carrying firewood? Who can say? Why do you carry firewood to the spiritual master? Huh? Because the spiritual master uses it in daily fire yajna. So in the fire yajna, the spiritual master needs the wood to burn in the fire yajna. He performs that kind of yajna. In the Kali Yuga, what is the yajna? Sankirtan yajna. Who can give a verse that proves that Sankirtan yajna is the Yuga Dharma, that is the process in this age? Yes, Mataji. Huh? Okay, we'll take it. Give her a hand. Go ahead. Another verse from Karabhajana Muni. Let's hear it. The Shastra is full of verses which explain that in the Kali Yuga, the yajna to perform, the way you light fire in this age is by performing Sankirtan. Now, how do you carry wood in this age for the spiritual master? How do you carry wood? You carry the books. The books, what's the difference? Wood and books, they all come from a tree, right? So if you carry around cases of books, you take bags full of books, you out and distribute them. This is the yajna in the age of Kali Yuga. And you fulfill that firewood carrying duty by carrying around these heavy books and distributing them to other people. Take that burden. And if you take that burden, then you'll be able to understand Vedic knowledge. You'll be able to understand what is in the heart of the Vedas. That's Krishna, and that's Krishna Prema. And that's what comes from distributing books. By serving the lotus feet of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu through Dasya Ras, through intense service, menial service, spreading the Sankirtan movement by the sweat of your brow, Prabodhananda Saraswati says in the Chaitanya Chandamrita, your heart becomes flooded with love for Radha Krishna. No need to stop. You don't have to stop spreading the Sankirtan movement. If you spread the Sankirtan movement all over the world and take the trouble, the anxiety to do so, you will come to the higher stages of devotional service. You will go past Anartha Nivriti into Nishta, you'll attain Ruchi, you'll attain Asakti, Bhava, and you can attain Prema. Performing this kind of service, distributing books, is actually following in the footsteps of the residents of Vrindavan. Tishtan Vraje Tananuragi Jananugami. Rupa Goswami says in the Upadeshamrita that we must follow in the footsteps of the residents of Vrindavan, and particularly in the Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu, a commentary by Jiva Goswami and Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur confirms that we are following especially Rupa Goswami and Sanatan Goswami. And what was their service in Vrindavan? In this world, what was their service? Writing books and excavating the lost places of pilgrimage. That's hard work. It's work. And the work that we're doing to maintain temples, to spread Krishna consciousness, to write books, to make sure they get out to all the people, this is following in the footsteps of Rupa and Sanatan in that mood. That brings one to the position of the highest stage of devotional service. So dedicate yourself to this, and at the same time hear and chant with all your heart, and all perfection is there for those devotees to do that. Therefore we say book distribution is a rapid way to make spiritual advancement. Now we're going to talk about the 4 laws of book distribution. It may be a review for some of you, but very good so you can stay out of jail. Don't break the law. Are you ready? I'm not convinced. Are you ready? Yes. I'm just a little convinced. Are you ready? Yes. Okay, here we are. First is your sadhana must be strong. Please repeat. Number 2 is you must get books. 3 is the more you show, the more you sell. But that's the one we always say twice because it's so important. Are you ready? Say it again. And number 4 is you must organize. Sadhana must be strict, serious, and sincere because every day we're fighting against Maya. Tribir gunamayer bhaver eve sarvamidam jagat. Mohitam nabijanati mamebhya paramavyayam. Krishna says in the Bhagavad Gita that this whole world is pervaded by the 3 modes of material nature and everyone's being bewildered by them. A great violinist in Russia once said, if I don't practice one day, I notice it. If I don't practice 2 days, my teacher notices it. And if I don't practice 3 days, everybody notices it. Every day we have to renew our sadhana because you're not the same person you were when you went to bed at night. You go to sleep at night and you wake up, everything's jumbled. You have to start over again. Sadhana is eternal. You have to do it every single day, and you have to do it intensely, and you have to do it a lot. And it has to be strict, serious, and sincere. And we have to be after something. We can't do it just for the sake of getting it done. That's called niyamagraha. It means we're doing it just for the sake of doing it. But every day we have to do sadhana that means, Krishna, please give me at least 1 mustard seed of realization and mercy. And if we can get 1 mustard seed of realization and mercy from chanting Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. We can control our senses completely from 1 mustard seed of realization from the holy name. And we can also spread the holy name all over Chicago, what to speak of Napersville, Schaumburg, Arlington Heights, what to speak of the United States. That 1 mustard seed of realization from chanting Hare Krishna can spread all over the world, all over the universe. That's how powerful it is. So we should be after that like nothing else. Every day should be a search and a prayer and a calling out to Krishna. Please give me that 1 mustard seed of mercy, of realization. And if you can get it, your life is changed. You can change your life in 1 japa session. You don't have to be the same as you were yesterday, but you have to want it. In Weight Watchers, which is a great organization, they have this big poster they put up in the front of the room, and it says, you gotta wanna. You know what Weight Watchers is? They teach you how to lose weight. People in America need it a lot. Now in India, they're needing it a lot too, because in middle-class society, people start to get money, and what do? Apparently, they eat a lot. And so there's all these organizations to help people lose weight. Losing weight's not easy. So they have the big sign up in front of the room that says, you gotta wanna. And Rupa Goswami says, Krishna Bhakti Ras Bhavito Mati Kriyatam Yari Kritopi Labdyate Tatalolyam Api Mulyam Ekalam Janma Koti Sukratirna Labdyate. Here's how you get bhakti, how you get Krishna. You gotta wanna. You have to have greed for it. You have to have intense desire to get it. That's the only way to get it. You can't get it by messing around. You have to intensely want it. You gotta wanna. And somehow or other, says Rupa Goswami, you have to develop this boiling hot desire to get Krishna consciousness. Sadhana bhakti stays sadhana bhakti if you commit offenses, if you let your mind wander. But if you do strict, serious, sincere, and you say, I'm going out now, I want it today, please Krishna now. You have to beg and beg and beg and beg. Like you're bereft, you don't have anything. This is strict, serious, and sincere sadhana. If you can do that, then you get a taste. You can get a taste. Krishna will bestow the taste upon the person who really, really wants it. And if you get a taste, you'll have overflow like anything. Even one mustard seed of taste will give you overflow. You can distribute it to your family. You can distribute it to your kids. You can distribute it to Napersville, to Arlington Heights, to Schaumburg, to Evanston, to Chicago, to all over the state of Illinois and across the United States. It'll flood into Europe. What did Prabhupada do? One person with this intense desire, he spread it all over the world, and who knows what other planets. He's doing it now. One mustard seed of taste, overflow. The second law of book distribution is, you must, but I'm not convinced you believe it. Let's hear it one more time. Second law of book distribution is, you must? It's like military. You guys say, get books. Let's hear it. Second law of book distribution is? Get books. And if, that's good. Let's try it again. Second law of book distribution is? Get books. Right. So here's the thing. I know it sounds like a little thing, but it's actually a big thing. You can't distribute books you don't have. And don't take it for granted, because these books are deities. And just because we're in the electronic age and you can print millions of books and have them shipped anywhere in the world, don't think that these aren't the rarest commodities in the world. These books change people's lives. Get these books. And if you have the books with you, you'll distribute them. What's the difference of going to the supermarket with or without a book? If you go without a book, you're just going shopping. If you take a book when you go to the supermarket, you're going on Sankirtan. What's the difference of going to the airport with or without a book? You're just like everybody else if you just go to the airport without a book. But if you're getting on the plane and you give everybody a book, whenever I go to fly out of Delhi, I always bring about 100 books with me coming through. And in India, people are so pious. You know, at the front door of the airport in Delhi, they have the guy with a gun, and they have to, for some reason, some stupid reason, they have to look at your paperwork about 5 times. It's just Indian bureaucracy. So whenever I get up there, I hand the guy a book before I hand him the paperwork. And they usually don't even look at my paperwork. They just go ahead. And at the security checkpoint, I give everyone a book at the security checkpoint. They don't even look in my bags. They're too preoccupied showing each other the books. Everywhere you go, you can distribute books. And if you have books, you can distribute books. Right? What about that box in your car? Avello and Ed were telling me last time, after our first seminar, and they said, you have to get books. They were driving me to the airport, and there was a box of books on the back seat, and they said, we want to tell you the story of the box. They went to a home program, and as soon as they got there, the host of the program said, I need to buy some books. And everyone looked around. No one had books. But then Avello and Ed said, we have a box in the car. And they went out and they brought it. And he brought it in. And the man gave a huge donation, $1,000, for a few books. That's a Haribol. Give them a Haribol. Anything can happen when you carry books with you, but if you don't carry books, what's the use? You might as well hang yourself. Okay, you can't distribute books you don't have. Get books in multiple languages. Here's a gentleman I met on the street a few years ago. He's from Afghanistan. I saw him and he saw me and I said, Salam alaikum, alaikum salam, marava kife laka, alhamdulillah, Allah Akbar. And he said, you pray to Allah? I said, 16 times a day. And he hugged me like this. And then I showed him this book. This book is in Farsi. And he loved the book. He wanted to know, where's all the other Farsi books? And I'd like to know that too. Getting these books translated from Sanskrit into English, Prabhupada's purport, this was a transcendentally monumental activity that Prabhupada performed. Never been done before like that. And then translating them into other languages is a Herculean task. So don't take it for granted. Have a quantity of all these foreign books ready so that you can accommodate people in different languages like Farsi, Mandarin, Spanish, Vietnamese. You can get all these books. It's a miracle. Get them and distribute them. Let the people read them in their own language. And the third law of book distribution, which we always say twice, is? Not like that. So let's start with it's military. Let's hear. And what was number 2? Okay, military. What's number 2? Okay, number 2. That's good. Number 3. That's right. So the more you show, the more you sell. Little Jiva's wandering around the universe just looking for something. He wants a little happiness. And as soon as you show little Jiva the book, say, over here, little Jiva, look. He gets attracted to it because it's natural. Everyone's looking for Krishna. Innovate and find ways to put these books out in front of people, and they'll come over and they'll browse the books and they'll ask questions and they'll take them. It's that simple. You don't have to know much. You don't have to be clever. You just have to show them. Make sure that they're visible. And when people see them, they'll take the books. Here's the smart box that sells books even while you're sleeping. They're visible. People walk in the store. They're buying a sack of rice. And they come out and they see this little box. And they take the book out of the box. They put the $2 in the hundi. And they walk off with the book. You can put thousands of these out. Here's a smart table downtown Santa Cruz. And the fourth law of book distribution is? Correct. So you can do a little bit of book distribution here and there if you just do it randomly. And however you end up that day, you just walk out the door and do it. But if you organize yourself and you organize your community, you can incrementally increase the number of books you do and the efficiency with which you do it unlimitedly. Unlimitedly. There's nothing that can stop you. Companies like Apple started, and Hewlett-Packard, they started in a dusty little garage. They started with a couple of entrepreneurs. Hewlett-Packard, Steve Wozniak, Steve Jobs, in a little garage. They had an idea and a burning desire, and they ran out into the El Camino Real, went shop to shop, showing their little invention to people. Not many people were interested. In fact, Atari said, we're not interested, we don't like your thing. Now they're the biggest company in the world. And they started from a small little organization, 2 people, and incrementally they made improvements. Steve Jobs used to take all his company members, when it was a fledgling company, to a resort, and they would sit down for 3 days and they would brainstorm how to make it better, how to make it better, how to make it better. And that's exactly how you can spread your Sankirtan movement and grow your party. You have to come together on a regular basis. All of you have to come together. And all you need is a legal pad of paper and a pen and a bunch of brains in the room with a desire to expand the Sankirtan movement, and then just ask this question: what can we do to improve? How can we make it better? And in an hour, you can write down 40 or 50 ideas. They'll come flowing out if you just let them all come out. And then you can pick out 7 of those ideas. What are the top 7? And you write them down and you say, for this month, these 7 are our focus for increasing this party. And if you do that month after month, you will grow your party exponentially. And no one will even recognize it in a few years. They'll say, this is amazing what you've done. How can we do it? And you'll have to tell them. You have to sit down and think about it. You have to organize. You have to decide, where are we doing well and where can we make room for improvement? Where is there room for improvement? How can we make those improvements, and who's responsible for making it? And what's the time limit for making it? That's all it takes. And using that method, you can spread Krishna consciousness to every house in Napersville, every household in Virginia Heights, in Evanston, in Schaumburg, in Chicago, and if you're really ambitious, you could hit Illinois. They won't even know what's coming. Other organizations have done this. They print their own paper, they make their own paper, they make their own ink, they print their own things, and they're spreading millions of literatures all over the world. Watchtower. The Gideon's Bible Organization has distributed millions and millions and millions of Bhagavad Gitas, of Bibles. Can we do the same thing? Can we distribute millions and millions and millions of Bhagavad Gitas all over Illinois? Yes, we can. You have to organize. If you just organize, if you just come together and decide what's the next step, and you keep the goal in mind, and you keep making incremental improvements. You can't do it overnight. You have to make incremental improvements. You can expand unlimitedly. And that is the purpose of the Krishna consciousness movement. The purpose is to spread Krishna consciousness as widely and as far as possible. And we don't stop. There's no plateau. We don't say we're done now, we're finished. We go on increasing unlimitedly. And there's only one way to do that. You have to organize. You have to use your intelligence. This is where we started, a dusty little garage at ISV, our temple in Mountain View, California. In the garage of our Sika Shekhar Prabhu. He cleaned out his garage. We started using it as a book room. We didn't have a temple. Devotees were driving up to his house at all times of the day and night with their trunks open. He was a biological engineer. We were wondering what his neighbors thought. He was dealing out of his garage. But there were books. And it grew and grew and grew. We were doing a couple thousand books a year about 8 years ago. And now the capacity to do 80, 90, 100,000 books a year. Just in the last monthly Sankirtan Festival, the devotees, because of incremental improvements over the years, they were able to distribute in 2 months 143 sets of Bhagavatams. 143 sets of Bhagavatams going door to door. And now they've got their eyes on doing 1,008 sets of Bhagavatams in 1 year. They're racking their brains and thinking, how can we do this? And where there's a will, there's a way. You can do it. You just have to decide you're going to do it and then figure out what are the ways and means to do it. So organize your Harinams, organize your book distribution. And here's how to sell a book on its own merit. First, I'd like to say that our prime directive is to leave everyone with a good impression. What's our prime directive? If you go out in this mood that I'm going to be kind friend to every living being, I'm going to leave everyone with a good impression, even people who don't treat me nicely, I'll leave them with a good impression, then you're in the right mood as you go out on book distribution. Because we're in the service business. We're going out to serve other living beings, to serve the Lord, and therefore our motto is? Yeah, it's called the ABS principle. And when you go out to distribute books, look for the ripe fruits. Here's the ripe fruit. There's a ripe fruit on the left. He bought a book at the New York Rath Yatra a few years ago. Can you see his body language? Ripe or unripe? Okay. Here's one at the Union Square Park a few years ago. Here's the so-called recipient on the right. Ripe or unripe? Ripe, unripe. Okay, say it. Okay, so that's what we're looking for. And you can find the ripe fruits, just like a person who knows the orchards and knows how to find fruits on trees. You can find those ripe fruits if you go out and do it in the right way. And we're going to get that in a minute. It's not hard. Book distribution's fun and easy if you go out as an instrument. Don't think I'm the doer. Just go out and say, see what Krishna is, how he's going to use me today. I'll do my best, whatever capacity he uses through me, I will do today. And remain humble and hungry when you go out on book distribution. It's high sadhana, so go out for your own purification. You'll make rapid advancement in devotional service. Service for service. Don't do it for any other reason or any motive. Service for service. Service for service. And save one soul at a time, beginning with yourself. On the airplane, they tell you, put your mask on first, and then you can put it on Schnicky. Schnicky can wait. Because if you're dead, you can't help Schnicky. Okay. Leave everyone with a good impression. Treat people with respect. Every living being is a part and parcel of Krishna. If you treat them with respect, if you treat your spouse with respect, if you treat your parents with respect, if you treat your ashram mates with respect, your temple president with respect, your people you meet with respect, you'll find something unusual, that their hearts open. Everyone just wants a little respect. Offer kind words. They're so rare in this world nowadays. Heart carries envy within it. And when the words come out, gossip comes out. People, they don't know what they're talking about with other people. They don't know their good qualities. They just find the bad qualities and then they amplify them. Don't do that. It ruins everything. It ruins the world. It ruins the atmosphere. It ruins your devotional service. Offer kind words that are encouraging, that help people move forward. And emphasize teamwork. This is our team in North Carolina before we went out in 108-degree weather and distributed thousands of books going door to door. If you all work together, then it's never a chore. It's fun. Say thank you to people. Go thank the person who cooked the noon offering today, whoever that was. Or find people and express your gratitude to them. Preaching means giving. It's a giving spirit. You're giving out as much as you possibly can to the people that you meet. Don't be condescending. Learn from other people. Express empathy. That's the highest kind of yogi. Practice listening to other people. The great Mahatma Das, the inimitable Mahatma, you know Mahatma Prabhu, lives in Florida, travels around the world. He said, 3 words block all learning. What are the 3 words? I know that. And when everybody's talking to us, when everybody's talking to me, my mind's going, I know that, I know that, I knew that, I know that. And as soon as this guy stops talking, I'm going to tell him something I know that's much better than what he's telling me. And I don't hear a word he's saying practically. I know that. So go out as an empty vessel. Learn to listen to people, what they're saying, and make people feel special. If you put a sign around everybody's neck, imagine that they're wearing a sign that says, make me feel special. And that's how you treat every person that you meet. You're acting just in the right mood for going on Sankirtan. Srila Prabhupada was like that everywhere he went. He gave people respect, knowing that they were parts and parcels of the Lord. He was the ambassador of goodwill from the spiritual world. And that's exactly what Sankirtan is. It means becoming an ambassador for the spiritual world, to pass on the goodwill that's coming down through the Sampradaya. And if you just present what we have with showing its merit, people will take it. And here's how. First, you have to use radar. Put up your hand, point it at somebody. Quick. Activate the power in your hand. It'll come out just like this in a ray. Come on, everyone. Put up your hand, point it at somebody, and I'm going to give you the mantra to activate the ray that comes out. Are you ready? Hi. Hi. Now that beam shoots out from your hand, and you'll watch. Just as this policeman watches, when he shoots his radar, he can look on the dial. You can put your hand down. You look on the dial, and he knows how fast you're going. He knows all about what you're doing in your car. So similarly, when you go up to people, and you can practice this one day, you don't even have to distribute any books. Just walk, as you walk to the store, you walk down the street, go like this to people. Hi, hi, hi. Try it a few times. Do it 3 times. Hi, 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 hi. People don't do that. They avert their eyes. They look the other way. They pretend they're looking at their iPhone. They get in the elevator and they look at their shoes. Try this. Look at people, go, hi, hi, hi. And as soon as you shoot them with this energy, what happens is you're going to get a reading back. The reading's going to come back and somebody's going to say, I'm not interested. I don't want to talk to you. I don't want to say hi. Another person's going to say, hi, how you doing? That's a ripe fruit. And there's people in between, but you can judge them first by shooting your ray, and you get a reading back. You can see where they're at. I can do it across the street. I see people all the way across the street. We're doing this when I was just in Texas. I'd see people on the other side of the street, and I say, "Hi!" And I could tell from their body language whether when they crossed the street they were going to take a book or not, or at least listen to it. Because you can see, it's a radar. You can actually tell where people are at. So once you use your hand power, then you can qualify people. One thing I do, I say, "California, where are you from? San Francisco, where are you from? Napersville, where are you from?" And as soon as they tell me where they're from, I say, "Perfect!" And I hand over the book. And trust the hand. As soon as you hand over the book, you trust the hand comes open, and hands grab, eyes see, ears hear, the tongue tastes, and the hand grabs. So the mind might say, don't take it, they're going to ask you for money, whatever, and the hand goes, "I don't care, I'll take it." So you just deal with the hand and put the book in their hand, and as you're put the book in their hand, you give them a mantra. The world runs by mantra. So as you're handing the book over, you say, here's one mantra. There's many mantras. Here's one that works very nicely. Books on yoga and meditation that show you how to get free from stress. Say it one more time. Now you can take that mantra, go home and practice it 1,000 times in front of the mirror. And when you hand the book over, you say, "Books on yoga and meditation shows you how to get free from stress." And as soon as they take hold of the book, you ask them a question, because questions control the conversation. The question mark, a question mark, is the most powerful punctuation mark in any language. If someone writes you a 50-page email and they don't include a question mark, you don't have to write them back. But if they write you 3 words and they put a question mark, or 1 word and they put you're obligated. You'll lose sleep because you say, "I got to answer." That's how powerful that little question mark is, like a hook. It pulls people in. So remember, questions are the answer. You have to ask questions as you're presenting. Don't just tell, but ask. So we say, books on yoga, meditation shows you how to get free from stress. And then we ask a question. You've heard of stress before, right? And what do they say? They could say yes, or they could say, and it doesn't matter either way, because the next thing I say is that, look, you don't look stressed at all. You look spiritual. Your eyes look spiritual. And I say, what's your secret? Now, for women, you don't say that to men. Your eyes look spiritual. Men don't say that to women because there's something about saying something about somebody's eyes that it's too much over the top. So you can just say, "You look spiritual. What's your secret?" When they say, "Yeah, I've heard of stress before," say, "Really? But you look different. You look spiritual." And that's a fact. They are spiritual because they're spirit souls. That's why they're breathing and alive, and there's consciousness coming out of their eyes. And if you use that mantra and you say that to people, all day long you'll be conscious that you're talking to a conscious living being. So what's your secret? Now this is a powerful mantra. Try it. If you walk up to anybody and say, "What's your secret?" what happens is you change the relationship. You're not condescending. You're not the person that's coming to preach to them, to get them to convert. And that's what people are averse to. They're thinking, "I don't want to do this because I have my own stake in the material world. I have my own philosophy. I figured it all out. I want to do it. And even if I haven't, I want to suffer the way I want to suffer. I don't want anybody telling me how to live my life." This is the mood here in the material world. Everyone feels like this to one degree or another. So when I ask this question, "What's your secret?" you tell me. We're changing roles, and I'm saying, "You're the guru, I'm your student. You tell me, what's your secret?" No condescending. Now they take a different role, and you'll see people's countenance change when you ask them that question. You say, "What's your secret? How do you do that? How do you look so spiritual?" And then they'll tell you something. Like most people say, "I smoke pot." And other people say, "Well, I do yoga," but they'll tell you something about their life, what mode of nature they're in, goodness, passion, ignorance. And if they can't tell you what the secret is, you can suggest something to them like, "You must just come from a good family," or "You must be a natural." And then once they admit something, then you take the book back out of their hand, and then it's show and tell. And you say, "Here, I'll show you really quick." How fast are you going to show them? Yeah, you have to tell them you're going to show them really quick, because their mind is saying, "How long is this going to take? Am I going to be here forever? Do I have to abandon my family?" And, a whole thing that's going through their mind. And if you say, "I'm going to show you really quick," Then you start showing name dropping on the back of the book. Thoreau, Emerson, Gandhi. Now these next three names aren't on there, but they are notable people who have read Bhagavad Gita. Martin Luther King, Dr. Martin Luther King Jr., Albert Einstein, and the Beatles. And if they don't like the Beatles, take the book back and walk away. They don't deserve it. All right. Then the endorsements. You turn to the front page in the Bhagavad Gita and you look in there and you can see University of Southern California, Georgetown University. Those two universities are well known and you can just drop those names. Now, on the way from Thoreau, Gandhi, Emerson to the universities, I open the book and I show them the Sanskrit and I say, look, this book's thousands of years old. It was written in this language called Sanskrit. Can you read it? And they look at it and they say, no. And I say, I was just testing you. And they say, but it's been translated over 500 times, and out of all the translations, this one has become the most popular academically, and then I show them USC and Georgetown University. Now I turn to the pictures, and you got to know where the pictures are, so you go really fast. Because the minute you take a break and you're fumbling through the book and there's like 10 seconds them waiting, they'll say, I got to go. I got to go. So you want to turn to the picture and keep them engaged and say, look, we start here, we end up here, we're just passing through. Life's a quick journey. And then I ask them, you've heard of karma before, right? And what do they say? And so what does karma mean to you? Somebody tell me. He said, what comes around goes around. That's 99% of the time, that's what people say. And when they tell me that, I say, whoa, what a great explanation. So let's try that. You ask me and I'll tell you what karma means. What? Yeah? Well, you know, stuff happens and things go up and down and around and back and forth and stuff like that. Now, here's one thing that's a really powerful mantra you can tell people. You say, whoa, I really like the way you put things. And then I always say this, I say, if more people thought like you in the world, it'd be a better place to live. And sometimes I say, you know, you've heard of karma before, right? And they go, no. And I say, so, you know, like what goes around comes around. And they go, yeah. And I say, wow, if more people thought like you in the world, it'd be a better place to live. Give them credit. Even if they, you know, score about 5 out of 100, still give them a passing grade. Credit, and tell them if there were more people thought like you in the world, it'd be a better place to live. And again, this is the same thing. We're not condescending. We're actually appreciating the fact that it's a living entity. It's a conscious living being whose intention is to actually live in full consciousness. So then I show them this picture, man with a cow's head, cow with a man's head. This actually won an award at a graphics fair, expressing in one fell swoop what is the concept. And so I show them that, and I say generosity breeds generosity, violence breeds violence. And I say, then a little humor. What do you do professionally? So some people say, I'm a civil engineer, I'm a Sunday school teacher, I'm a dancer. So I say, really, this guy used to be a civil engineer. Really, this guy used to be a Sunday school teacher. Now, this guy was a dancer too. And as soon as I show them that picture and I say, look, this guy was a dancer, then they start laughing. And if they don't laugh, they usually say, really? And I say, no, not really. And then they laugh. And then right when they're laughing, that's when I hand the book back. Now, I know I'm taking this in stages and explaining it, but the whole process just takes like a couple minutes to go through the whole thing. And I hand the book back and I tell them, we don't sell it like in a store. We take a donation, but we don't need the money. The reason we ask is, it's an ancient tradition. When you give something in return for spiritual knowledge, it connects you to all the previous teachers who have passed this down. And it opens the door for you to spiritual knowledge. And then they give a donation. They'll give for that. We say, we don't sell it like in a bookstore. We just take a donation. We don't need the money. The reason we ask is when you give something in return for spiritual knowledge, it connects you to all the previous teachers who have given their lives to pass this knowledge down to us. And it opens the door to spiritual knowledge for you. So, then they give a donation, and if you tell them they cost us about $10 to distribute, don't say it costs $10 to print, because we're not sure that some people might say this to print, that to print, but it costs us around $10 to distribute. And anything you give over that is a donation. Then, as soon as I give a donation, Ask them, do you believe in the power of prayer? Say this. And they say, no, I don't believe in prayer. Then you say, perfect, I'll give you a mantra. And you hand over a mantra card, and you say, this is a very powerful mantra or prayer. If they said they like prayer, you can say that. And it's meant to wake up love for God in your heart, and I'm going to teach you how to do it. Are you ready? Now you have to do it a little quick, because they might get on the mental plane, and sometimes if there's two of them together, the other person will say, Larry, don't do it. Don't say that. You don't know what's going to happen. We don't know what's in the mantra, and I don't even know either. Rupa Goswami said, I don't know how much nectar these two syllables have produced. It's uncanny. Nobody knows what's actually in the mantra. So people get afraid, and you have to say, are you ready? And then they'll go, okay. And then you say, Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna. Krishna Krishna. Hare Hare. Hare Rama. Hare Rama. Rama Rama. Hare Hare. We want to popularize this mantra, get everyone to chant the mantra, go around and make sure they chant the whole mantra. They will wipe out all their sins just by chanting the mantra one time. They're not doing it for anything except because you told them to. They're not doing it to get rid of any kind of sinful activities. And because they're chanting a Namabas, they're starting with a clean slate. They can go home and read that book. And then, by all means, give them prasadam. There's not one reason on earth that you can't give people prasadam wherever you go. Can you give me one reasonable explanation why we wouldn't give out prasadam? Yes. Lollipops. They don't weigh anything. You could carry them right in your side bag. And these dum-dum pops, back in 1972, Batu Gopal saw the Salvation Army around Christmas time distributing candy canes. And he thought, well, we'll try that. So he got some candy canes, and they offered them to Krishna. They offered to a picture, and then they went out and were distributing them, collecting donations along with their books. And somebody complained to Prabhupada saying, Batu Gopal's given out Karmi candy to people. And what about that? And Prabhupada got involved, and he wrote the letter, which is in the Veda base, and he says, what is the harm? He said, in India all the time we buy these simple sugar candies from the marketplace and we offer them to the deity. He said, you can take these candy canes, you can offer them to the deity. And so dum-dum pops are just sugar and a little water, and when you offer them to Krishna, they become transcendental. I gave one to the Secretary of State of the United States at the San Francisco airport, John Sununu. And he didn't even ask any questions. Before I even handed him the book, I handed him a lollipop, and he had it in his mouth before I could even say anything. I was surprised. Lollipops, even a monkey I saw. When I was on Parikram in Govardhan, I was coming around right when I was about to walk back in the ashram. I saw a little monkey there sitting there looking at me saying, like, what do you got for me, man? And I said, I got a lollipop, and I tossed it at him really fast. And they're so adroit. Here it is in slow motion. He had the wrapper off and the thing in his mouth, and he was looking at me like, okay, thanks, go ahead, you can go now. And everyone will take a lollipop wherever you go. So lollipops, Prabhupada used to distribute the samosas. Brahmananda Prabhu told the other day in a program in Vrindavan about how he went out to a big transcendental bookstore that was there in New York City trying to sell Prabhupada's books, and the lady who was the owner said, oh, we already bought those a couple years ago. And an older gentleman came here, and he gave us these vegetable pastries, and we bought his books. So Prabhupada was going around shop to shop, and he would bring home-cooked samosas that he would make. He'd give them to the people, and he'd sell them his books. So take prasadam wherever you go and distribute it. It makes friends, and it takes people back to Godhead without them even knowing it. Get their contact information, and you should have a robust follow-up program for all the people you meet, and that takes a lot of brain work and organization, which you're all doing here, learning how to bring in the new people and plug them in so they can start learning how to do the process of Krishna consciousness. And at the end, you have to thank everyone for their valuable time. Tell them it's an honor to meet them. When I was in Honolulu on Kalakaua Avenue, I was in Adodi, I was distributing Srimad Bhagavatam's first canto, and I met a honeymoon couple. There's thousands of them there. And I handed the book, and I told them about it, and I sold the donation, and they said, sorry, we're not interested, we're Christians. And also, we don't want to give a donation to your organization because we only give to Christian organizations. And I was in a very jolly, happy mood. I said, That's perfectly okay. I just want to thank you for taking your valuable time. It's been an honor to meet you. And I shook the man's hand. And they walked away. And a half hour later, while I was distributing a book to another person, I saw them in my rear view mirror coming up. And they walked up to me afterwards and they said, "We changed our mind. We want to give a donation." And it was because of how I left them. It was because I left them with a good impression. I didn't begrudge the fact that they weren't interested, that they said they didn't want to give a donation, they're a different religion, anything like that. I just honored them from the bottom of my heart. I left it completely clean, and they came back and they offered the money willingly. What kind of advancement do they make from doing something like that? Out of their own free will, they came back and gave the money, and I made sure they took a book too. So leave people with a good impression, and I want to say a few words about distributing full sets of books, because it's a bonanza. In Chicago, everyone will take a full set of books. And all you have to do is apply the third law of book distribution, which is... That ain't it. Come on, a little more gusto. And that's the one we always say twice. If you take the sets out and show them to people, and here's what devotees are doing back in Mountain View, San Jose area. This is how they distributed 143 sets of books in less than 2 months. They go door to door or anywhere else, and they always have a set of books ready. And when they go door to door, there's some people that open the door and they say, "Come on in." They're just happy to see you. And they start bringing water and bowl of cherries and things like that. When you get invited in, you bring in the whole set of Bhagavatams, you bring in the deities, you bring in everything. And you set it up, because we bring in deities too, the Gaur Nitai deities. We put Gaur Nitai, the whole Bhagavatam, everything, and you start taking them out of the box. Take them out like the books belong in there. And you just find a place, clear a place off and start setting them up. Get them out of the box, onto a shelf, and then you just start telling the story about Maharaj Parikshit and how he was a king, an emperor of the world, and he was cursed to die in 7 days. And then he went to the Ganges and he sat down and he asked this question, what to do at the time of death? And Shukadeva Goswami came, and that's what this book's about. And everyone's going to die, and we only have 7 days because we're going to die on Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, or Sunday. And it's relevant to everybody. And the whole family comes in, and the kids start looking at the picture and the whole thing, and it's only $240. That's nothing. And they write a check, and they take the books. And then we do an installation ceremony. We bring in Madanga, Kartals. They're all out there in the car, ready to go. And then we do a little artik ceremony for the books. And then they install them, and then they call their friends. And then they say, there's 2 more people down the hallway. They'll take sets too. And we all go down there with Madanga, Kartals, deities, books, knock on the door. Let us in. We're coming in. We know you're in there. You use the box of books as a battering ram if they won't open up, and you just bash down the door and you come in with the Bhagavatam set and you set it up, and their life has changed forever. And every month we have a special meeting for all the new people who bought the Bhagavatam set, and they come. We set it up at a special hall, and they come, and it's tips, how to read the Srimad Bhagavatam, how to study it, and they all come, and we have a kirtan. It's fantastic. And now we have a set called the Perfectly Complete Prabhupada Library. It's got the Srimad Bhagavatam, the Chaitanya Charitamrita, all the books that are published that are from the BBT, from Prabhupada. We have all of Prabhupada's lectures. We have a cookbook. We have the Prabhupada Lilamrita. We have the Brihat Bhagavatamrita. We have Kartals. We have Madanga. We have Tilak. Anything I'm forgetting? Dhoti. We don't have a dhoti. I'll do that when we get home. And we have a bookshelf. From IKEA, we ordered all the bookshelves. So they're only $80 for the bookshelf that holds all these. Shishi Kishore Kishori Ki. And all of it fits in one bookshelf, and it's called the Perfectly Complete Prabhupada Library. And do people buy them? Like hotcakes. Like hotcakes. Because it's got everything. One-stop shopping. How much is it? $1,008. It's a $2,500 value. We're selling it for $1,008, and people just buy them like that. Because once they have them, they got everything. Their house turns into a temple. And a lot of people are already devotees, and they know somebody that's interested in Krishna consciousness. They'll buy one, and they'll say, here, give it to them as a wedding gift. Put it in their office. Some people are putting them in their offices. And then they have everything, Kartal, Madanga, Tilak, deities, all the books, all the lectures, everything complete in one place. The perfectly complete Prabhupada library. And all you have to do is make it visible and tell people about it, and they will buy them right at the Sunday feast, right at the Janmashtami ceremony. So, sets of Srimad Bhagavatam, sets of Chaitanya Charitamritas, and then foreign language books. You have to get these. Go to the ends of the earth to get them, because we want to create a demand for them, and we want to make sure that these go out to everybody and have them available. It's easy to present because you have Google Translate right on your smartphone. And if you don't have a smartphone, go out and buy one tomorrow, because you're not up to speed in the modern age if you don't. And you can write whatever message you want, turn on Google Translate, and then turn it into the other language. And when you go around distributing these books in neighborhoods, you just hand them the book in Vietnamese and then show them your smartphone, and they'll just take it. We distributed a whole box of books at a Vietnamese neighborhood the other day. I collected $300 in an hour distributing Vietnamese books, because people were so happy to get books in their own language. Here we are, French, Chinese, Italian, Spanish, Swedish, Polish. Who can stop you? You can't, no one can stop you from doing this stuff, right? It's a revolution. And here's some more resources on fanthespark.com. There's a book distribution link you can go to that has many different recordings and videos and things like that. And a few comebacks. I already know about this. That's great, I can tell by looking at you. I'm a Christian, I'm a Muslim, I'm a Buddhist, I'm Jewish, I'm whatever it is, designation, I'm Hindu. We say, oh great, then I'll show you this one. So I'm handing over one book and they say, I'm Buddhist. And I say, oh, perfect, take that one back, and I hand them the next book. And I just start telling them all about how this relates to Buddhism. And we've sold plenty of Muslim books in the form of Krishna book and Sri Upanishad. And all you have to do is tell them Allah is within everyone's heart. The mind rejects it based on the designation, so you have to take it back and give them the next one and then represent it in a way that they can appreciate it. Are you selling this? We refuse to sell it. It's too valuable. We just take a donation. How much should I donate? We're trying to keep it under 100. Brigupati says we try to keep it under 1,000, but in your case we're thinking about making an exception. If you use humor, Brigupati Prabhu distributes thousands and thousands of books every month. He says a little bit of humor, actually a little bit of philosophy and a lot of humor. That's how he sells all his books. Just a few little jokes and a few little philosophies so they can see that actually this is for real. And very quick, and he sells lots of books. So tonight we talked about our legacy, which is passing on the gift, the 4 laws of book distribution, which we all know now by heart, how to sell a Gita on its own merit, distributing full sets, distributing foreign language books, and some tips. And now we'll just see if there's any reflections or questions. Yes, go right ahead. Avello.
The hardest part I find about book distribution is actually stopping people when they're walking by. And I've tried that hand method. It very rarely works, unfortunately for me. But once they stop, I can talk to them, but stopping them is a huge difficulty. And I feel also self-conscious. Like, I just cannot do it.
So, Avello was saying that it's hard for him to stop people, and that even using this radar, it's been difficult for him. So it takes a little practice. I think you should go out with somebody who is experienced at stopping people. Sometimes body language is important. I notice that a lot of devotees are broadcasting before they meet people, and if you're a little bit detached and you stay back a little bit, it helps. If you're a little detached, you stay back. And then you say hi. And it also, depending on where you're distributing, if you're in a place that's very passionate and there's a lot of other people passing out flyers and all kinds of other things like in a downtown street, it gets overheated and people get in this mode, I'm not stopping for anybody. So try places that are a little more docile and quiet, and you can practice like that. If we have time in the next couple of days, I'll go out with you and show you. Yes.
If you would come out with us one time this week.
If I can get time.
That would be amazing.
Through these meetings coming up in the next 2 days. If I can break free and I still have any vitality left after attending, then I'll go.
Thank you.
Okay. Yes. Hare Krishna.
Sometimes people they ask that, what is this? Is this Hinduism or is it Buddhism? What is it? Then what do we have to say?
Well, what would you say? What is it? Let's hear what you say. What is the Bhagavad Gita? You have to judge why a person's asking. Like sometimes people will say, is this religion? You ever hear that one? Is this religion? Is this religious? So a simple answer is no, it's spiritual. It's religious, it's spiritual. People say, is this Hindu? And it's the same kind of idea. They're trying to put it in one little category so they can reject it, generally. But one thing you can do is ask them a question. Why? Are you studying Hinduism? What is Hinduism? You ask them a question. Because then they say, oh, I don't know what Hinduism is. Then it sort of breaks down that immediate designation that they have, and you can say, no, these are actually spiritual books. And when people ask, is this religion? I say, religion tells you what to do. This book shows you how to find out for yourself. Or as people say, is this religion? Is this Hinduism? I say, this completely rejects all religious activities that are materially motivated. It propounds the highest truth, which is reality distinguished from illusion for the welfare of all. Such truth uproots the threefold miseries. This beautiful Bhagavatam compiled by the great sage Srila Vyasadeva is sufficient in itself for God realization. As soon as one submissively hears from this Bhagavatam, he wakes up love for God in his heart. From the first canto of the Bhagavatam, completely rejecting all religious activities that are materially motivated. And you can say this is spiritual, it's universal. It's non-sectarian. Yes?
I was wondering if you've sold any sets of books to Caucasians at all.
Yes.
How do you do that?
Same way. Just look for the ripe fruits.
You
find oftentimes seekers will take them. In fact, even Muslims have bought these full sets. We have pictures of people, after they buy the sets, we take pictures with them next to the sets, and we have lots of pictures of all kinds of people buying sets. And what they are is they're really open seeker kind of people. That says, I've been looking for this. I'm interested in spiritual knowledge. And we just do the same presentation, and $240 is not a lot of money for a full set of books like that. And when a couple of devotees, 2, 3, sometimes more, come into the apartment, and they all sit down, and they start talking, then people, they get carried away, and they'll buy the full set.
So do you go to areas with just, what kind of areas do you go to? Do you go cold canvassing or what?
Yeah. We look for apartments that are middle class and that don't have security.
You just go to, you don't go to houses?
Huh?
You don't go to houses, you just go to apartments?
Apartments because they're closer together.
Mm-hmm.
Houses take a long time to get to. And the worst thing about door-to-door is when people aren't home. Because then it wastes a lot of time. Knock, 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 nobody home. And you go through 5, 6, 7 apartments like that. So first, we try to pick times when we know people are going to be home. Either earlier on Saturday, which is dangerous a little bit because people are still sleeping, or later on Saturday in the afternoon, or Sunday also, later in the afternoon. And weeknights you can go out in the evening, right around dinner time. And a lot of people, you just find nice people. They're just in there. They'll say, come on in. You know, what do you got? Let's see. And then people come out and they say, oh, I'm interested. This is good. We've been looking for this. So you just have to look for the ripe fruits.
Do you,
and a lot of times, if they don't take a full set, then a lot of times what they do is they'll apologetically take 3 or 4 big books. And they'll say, well, here's $20, here's $30. We're really sorry, we can't take the whole thing. If you start at the top and you work your way down, then the downside is a lot bigger than it would have been if you started from the bottom and worked up, if that makes sense. And another thing, just while it's on my mind, I hope you don't mind, just that around this time of year, it's good to start planning for Gita Jayanti. Right after Janmashtami is over, the day after Vyasa Puja, is a good day to start promoting Gita Jayanti, several months ahead of time. And if you download the little video from CBS onto iPods and iPhones, and you also get these little forms that people fill out how many cases of books they want to donate to Motel Gita, and you start going around with these things early, you can collect, tens of thousands of dollars for the Motel Gita and place, 20, 30, 40,000 Gitas. Go ahead.
As far as using your cell phone to use a credit card, do you find that most people don't have cash, they pay with a credit card?
Most people say they don't have cash. The reason we started doing the credit card thing was because actually I started doing it many years ago at the airport. I was at San Francisco airport, they gave me my own booth. I looked like I owned the place. And behind the booth, people say, I don't have any cash. And I say, great, we take credit cards. And I just pull out this little machine. And I actually didn't take credit cards. But almost 9 times out of 10, people go, because I was so confident about pulling out the credit card machine, they go, oh, yeah, I have some cash right here. But then the other 10% started pulling out their credit card. And I said, now what do I do? So I said, I got to find out how to do credit cards. And it used to be really difficult. We had to make a contract with the bank, and we had to give them a really, big cut out of the whole thing. And it was a big deal. And every year it got easier and easier and easier. And to now it's a no-brainer practically. You just use the square and you slide it right on the thing. Just yesterday and the day before, I was in Austin, Texas on the streets, and we're distributing, and like 9 people out of 10, they say, I don't have cash. I say, great, we don't take cash. We take MasterCard, Visa, American Express, Carte Blanche, Diners Club. And then they go, really? And I go, and as soon as they say really, I go, absolutely. Like really determined and really fast. And I say, our CPA is right over here. And one of the devotees with the square, I say, bring the CPA over. And I bring him over. He goes, he's our accountant and CPA. He's got, and he pulls out the square. And then they pull out their credit card and they give. And the other thing is, you can take gift cards. Gift cards, a lot of people get them for Christmas, and they have Jamba Juice, Starbucks, and all this stuff, and nobody uses everything on a gift card. They just sit in their wallet for years and years and years. That's how they make so much money off gift cards. So you say, give me your gift card. After you get the donation, say, you have any gift cards. And you take the gift cards, and you can go, there's a company online that you can trade in those gift cards, and they'll give you the cash for them and take a small percentage out. Parameshwar Prabhu does an extra $80, $100 a day just collecting gift cards. I'm just saying. Adikarta Prabhu, anything else?
I don't think so, not right now.
Okay.
So how many, just to get a little specific, how many of those sets did you sell to Indian people?
80%.
80%.
Yeah. But that's who we have in Silicon Valley. I've looked high and low. I told devotees, we have to diversify, so I'd put them in front of Walmart. Who comes out? Indian people. I'd say, go over here. We have to diversify who comes out. Indian people.
So it's
dominated by, in our neighborhood, we have a lot of South Indians.
So do you mainly go to where Indians live?
No, we go everywhere. But they just happen to live there, that's all.
Okay.
The thing is that every place is different. Every place has a different combination. I've showed it a variety of things, foreign books, straight Bhagavad Gitas, sets of books. And if you're ready for all of them, it will work. You will sell. You just have to make them more visible.
So do you show them, when you go trying to sell sets of books, do you just show them the whole set right away or what?
Yeah.
You just carry a whole set with you?
We carry the sets with us and we bring them in.
How many of you go together?
Pardon me?
How many of you go together to the door?
20, 25.
25 people?
Yeah, we swarm the whole complex.
I'm saying, how many devotees go to the door with you carrying the books?
It depends. What we do a lot of times, as soon as we get somebody who opens the door and invites us in, then we put out a call to the other devotees in there, and then everyone swarms in. The other day we were somewhere, it was I can't remember where I was. It was another state. And it was Baltimore. It was in Baltimore, and we went in one house, and I looked out, and there must have been 20 devotees, all the way from in the apartment, all the way out the door. Everything okay?
Great.
We're almost done. Any more questions? Yes.
As far as apartment buildings, I've heard some comment from a devotee that the apartment buildings here are security that they haven't seen where they are. So what kind of what does it mean when you say no security? So I have an idea of what you're...
Well, California, a lot of
dealing with.
places, at least in Northern California, there's no buzzer.
Oh.
You don't have to buzz in. You just go in and we find those places. And a lot of times when there are buzzers, the way we get in is we find somebody who lives there and we ask them to open up all the doors for us and let us in. Sometimes devotees live in an apartment complex and they just make sure that we can get in all the places. And they let us in. Where there's a will, there's a way. And so what I do a lot of times is I look for a foreign name, like somebody that speaks Mandarin or Vietnamese or something like that. Look at, and I know what those names are, and I'll buzz it, and then I'll say something in their language. And then they just figure that it can't be anybody else, so they just buzz and they let us in. If you innovate, there's ways that you can get in. And it's a lot of fun because, especially these apartments here, you can start at the top. You start at the very top, all the way to the left, and you just work your way down one floor at a time. And you meet the most amazing people. I was in Montreal not too long ago, and it was a rainy, windy day. Everyone was being blown sideways. We got in this building. We stayed in there for like 2 hours. And we started at the very top, and we worked our way all the way down. And phenomenal, the people we met in there. I was with my wife, Nirkula, so we were at this one door. And this lady, she was an old lady, and apparently she was a shut-in, and she was afraid. We knocked on the door, and she was looking out the keyhole, and she kept going, "Get away from here! You go away! You go away! You go away!" So we went away, and we went to the door across the hallway, and I knocked on the door, and the guy opens the door, and he goes, "Oh, this is great! What do you got?" And she's yelling through the door, "Don't open the door for them! Close the door! Don't open the door!" And the guy didn't listen to her, and he kept looking at the book, and then she got quiet. And she watched the guy through the keyhole. He was buying the book. She finally opens the door and she goes, "Okay, what do you have?" So Nirkula went over there and she talked to the guy, to the lady, and she bought a book. And we met this other lady that she was having a really hard time in her life. It was a very difficult job she had. She worked for a government agency where they stake out child abusers. And then they arrest them. But they have to do a case study. They have to catch them in the act and all these things. And it's such a depressing job. She was so depressed, and she opened her heart to us. And she lived with birds. She had all these birds that would fly around the apartment, like parakeets and stuff like that. So she introduced us to all the birds. She bought books. She opened her heart to us. We were there for like half an hour talking to her. And very interested, chanted the mantra, the whole thing. I mean, this is preaching. You're one-to-one. You're connecting with people. You have to find where they live. Who else is going to do that? If we don't go and find out and get in and go and knock on the door and see who's there and just try to give them something nice. Give them prasadam. Give them a book. Give them your heart. Just preach to them, This is real kindness. This is what Bhaktivinoda Thakur says that is the essence of all dharma, is to go out and meet people, widely spread the holy name, to give mercy to people. Yes, Mata. And then we'll go back to Adikarta.
We find that at the airport, since we can't move, we have to stay in one place only, and there's people walking by, back and forth. The people that seem to be into sports, they're carrying their luggages, carrying their equipment. We have never been able to distribute a book to them, so...
To the people who are...
The people that they are doing, you can see that they're going for some, they're... And they have like this huge luggage.
Do they wear a hat?
What is that?
Do they wear hats?
Some of them wear hats.
What does it say on the hat?
I don't know. I've never.
Does it say Green Bay Packers or something like that? Chicago Bears, Chicago Bulls. You have to know a few teams. If you see a hat, if you see a logo anywhere, a lot of sport people, they wear logos because they identify with the team. So if you know the team or the coach or something like that, you just identify with it. If you see somebody wearing a logo, a hat, who's sporting and something like that, then you yell out to them. Like if you see a Michigan, somebody's from University of Michigan, "Go Blue!" And say the name of the coach of the team or whatever. That's what gets sports people going really good, really fast. So that's something you could do a little homework. Go through the paper and figure out who are all the teams. So like if you see logos and stuff, try to connect them to people and bring them out like that.
But some of them, actually most of them don't seem to be part of a team. It's just like a person or two traveling together, going skiing or something like that. And they just never stop.
Then you say something about skiing, or if they have a tennis racket or something like that, you can ask them a question, how's your backhand? Somebody who's a weightlifter, how much can you bench press? Ask them a question that's related to that. And if people don't stop, that's okay. We're looking for the right fruits. Let them go. You don't have to stop everyone. You just have to stop the stoppables. Do the doables. Don't do the undoables. Because then, and once you start learning how to expand your circle of influence, you can do more and more. But in the beginning, find the people that are easier to work with. Okay? All right. Adikarta Prabhu?
What are the best days to go to the apartments, you find?
Best days to go where?
Best times and to go to the apartments. Is it the weekend or evening time?
Weekend, yeah. Saturday morning's good. Saturday
morning.
late afternoon is also good. And Sunday's okay. Don't go during the Super Bowl, especially if your home team is playing.
Yeah.
We have a lot of Indians in our congregation who are very enthusiastic book distributors. The 49ers, San Francisco 49ers, were playing in the Super Bowl this year. And they went out on Sankirtan door to door during the Super Bowl. I didn't know about it till later. I said, you did what? That's practically sacrilegious. And it was kind of interesting result. Okay.
So do they go in devotee clothes or just in regular non-devotee
What I tell
clothes?
people about dressing is, dress in what gets you out the door. If you feel mental about dressing one way or the other, don't do it. Dress in whatever makes you feel more natural. But one thing is, dress nicely. Don't, whatever, if you're going to wear Western clothes or Eastern clothes, make sure they look good. They're pressed. The colors match. The socks match. Stuff like that. And that you look kind of sharp. And if you're mental about wearing a dhoti, don't wear a dhoti when you go out. Wear something else that makes you feel comfortable. Just be yourself. Okay?
Okay, great.
So we should end, because we've come to the 8:30 point. Thank you, everyone. Please think about these things and come together and keep increasing as you're doing here. Chicago is a strategic point in the world, one of the biggest cities in the world and one of the strategic points for Sankirtan. You can all make a difference here in this congregation, and you are. Just keep making incremental improvements. Thank you very much. Srila Prabhupada ki jai, Shishi Nitai Gauranga ki jai, Shishi Kishori ki jai, Jagannath Baladev Subhadra ji ki jai. Go Premanande Haribo! Vancha Kalpatarvascha Kripasana. Hare Krishna.